is the Brad T. Dad.
That's what we used to call him back in the day.
Welcome to the Empty Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. It's Brad, Josh, and Eric. We're here to talk fantasy football and sports and life and love and a bunch of other stuff. And I don't know what the intro is because I'm not really prepared for this. The other guys did the work. I was essential. Yeah, love. Don't you love football?
If you're Brad the Dad, is he Eric the Real Deal O'Neill?
Why would you say my whole name?
Yeah, wow, thanks.
Well, because you need the O'Neill for the real deal.
Yeah, say it again.
Why wouldn't he be Eric? Something, I don't know. There's got to be something that rhymes with Eric.
It's fine.
Nothing rhymes with Eric. Absolutely nothing. It's playground safe name, as my parents like to call it.
I'm pretty sure the Eminem could find something to rhyme with.
Eric, I call you the ferret.
Eric the Ferret?
Yeah.
How does
That's
that
not really
work?
rhyming. That's 2 Chainz rhyming.
Eminem would make it work. He always does.
2 Chainz would make it work.
All right, let's get into this.
All right.
Maybe they
so
would.
what are we going to talk about today, Josh?
Well, there was some news that happened this week. Andy Dalton got cut after he requested to be cut earlier, and they said no. And then they
not on
your
terms, but on our terms.
Yeah, now that
Not because you asked, but because we wanted to.
Now that a lot of roster spots have been taken up, the draft has happened, they decided to go ahead and cut him. Luckily, there's always a suitor. And this time, it was Jerry Jones. And not only was Jerry Jones a suitor, he paid up for Andy Dalton. $7 million. $3 million guaranteed. The deal's worth up to $7 million.
Wow. I don't think that's really paying up. That's about going right back up. That's backup money right there.
Nope. Jameis got league minimum or veteran minimum.
Well, Jameis did.
Jameis threw 30 interceptions, and he's an off-field problem.
And Andy Dalton actually makes the playoffs. He don't win playoffs, but he makes them.
Yeah.
So he fits
and
in
Andy's not a locker room
perfectly,
weirdo, so it'll be fine.
You don't know if he's a weirdo. He's a redhead, man. You don't know what that ginger's been doing.
I mean, just because he doesn't have a soul doesn't mean he's weird. It's fine.
Well,
There's other than that, there were some other news that come out. This was really slow week for news, but it was mostly about the fifth-year options, right? So there were a couple of guys that got picked up, but the ones that didn't was really the bigger story, right? So the first one that I want to talk about, John Ross for the Bengals. We kind of knew that was going to happen with Boyd popping up.
That's what you're leading this off with, John Ross.
Fifth-year.
Is it because he was the fastest one? Is it because he was the first one to the finish line?
Well, he was the 7th one drafted overall. It was now, so he didn't get picked up, but that's not really a big surprise based on his injury history and the more receivers that they've drafted. Now, Mitchell Trubisky, that one was a bit surprising based on what they gave up to get him. So, any of you guys want to discuss that or no?
Wait, they didn't pick up Trubisky's 5th year?
Didn't. Declined it.
Well, Mitch was what, the 3rd pick overall? Something like that. 3rd. He was top 5.
they gave
that
up
5th year option is very high.
It's pretty lucrative, but at the same time, they moved up to get him. But I think you need to know.
You got to know when to hold him. You got to know when to fold him, boys.
Rest in peace.
Remember, he was drafted before Holmes and Watson. So
yeah,
he was.
A lot of people were drafted before Mahomes, so that's not fair. But no, I think they're like, yeah, he's not our guy, and yeah. We got Nick Foles, baby, who restructured his deal.
He did.
To save a lot of money.
He's going to get the same amount of guaranteed money that he would have gotten in Jacksonville. So it made sense for him and for the team. Cleared up some cap space. It's all good.
Well, the smart thing about not picking up Trubisky's option 2 is, 1, he might actually be motivated to play well this year. And 2, if he does play decently, they can sign him back on the cheap. Or he goes somewhere else and he makes some money. Because if he's a backup to Foles all year, they don't have to pay him that much to keep him around.
Are you going to talk about L4, Leonard Fournette's 5th year?
That was the next thing I was going to talk about. And this one was interesting because they informed him that they were going to decline his 5th year option the same day that they decided to go ahead and sign Chris Thompson. Now, the reason that that's relevant, I understand you're thinking, Chris Thompson, what does he do? Remember who the new offensive coordinator in Jacksonville is? Jay Gruden. Exactly. Chris Thompson played for Jay Gruden in Washington, but he used him as a passing down back. So even if Leonard Fournette's on the field this year, there's a good chance that Chris Thompson could take over on 3rd downs. Leonard Fournette actually gained quite a bit of fantasy value last year in PPR leagues from catching passes. So they've already said he's not going to be our guy, even though he has been pretty good. He's not going to be our guy. Looks like they're going to move on from him. They're already looking for options.
You know who would love to have Leonard Fournette? Bill Belichick. Watch that happen down the road.
What about O.J. Howard's fifth-year option getting picked up?
I was kind of surprised by that one.
Is this more to trade him, to keep the trade alive? Because if you don't pick it up, you're pretty much telling teams, don't trade for him because –
Yeah, well, the thing is that, they're paying Brate still, and I don't really know if they think that they're going to keep Gronk beyond this year. And O.J. Howard is still very talented. And you remember, they're not paying him that this year. They're going to be paying that bigger salary next year for him, whereas Gronk will be off the books. And he's certainly, even if they keep Gronk, they're not going to pay him $10 million next year unless he has an incredible year where he stays healthy. So I'm not buying it, but we'll see how it happens. I think it's interesting, but it looks like right now O.J. Howard isn't going to go anywhere. Another interesting one was Corey Davis. Corey Davis, his fifth year, was declined by the Tennessee Titans. Remember, he was supposed to be –
As it should be.
Not arguing with that at all. Now, Patrick Mahomes, his fifth year was picked up, in case you guys were –
Let's keep him on one more cheap year for while we can, because he's probably going to get $200 million.
Deshaun Watson as well got picked up.
And Christian McCaffrey, but we already knew about the Christian.
They're going to get oodles.
Christian McCaffrey,
he resigned for. He's the highest paid running back ever.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's pretty much it for the fifth year options that we care about for fantasy purposes. There were other ones like linemen and stuff like that, but who really?
That's the stuff I like to talk about.
I mean, we like it, but for this show, it's not that.
It's not relevant. Yeah.
Yeah, like your boy Taco. He found a home in Kansas City.
Good for you, Taco.
Yeah. There was something interesting that also happened in Jacksonville is they got their newly minted second-round wide receiver, Laviska Shenault, and they said that they're going to line him up at multiple positions. They're going to use him more like a wildcat, wide receiver, running back, quarterback, even tight end. I think that's interesting because he becomes more of a versatile player, and maybe he'll be added as a kind of like a flex player, which is bridging to our next subject, which was Taysom Hill. In most leagues now, Taysom Hill is going to be he's also going to be listed as a running back and wide receiver, so he's kind of a flex player himself. It's interesting because maybe if you want to, some people are going to be tempted to play him some weeks, and it might pay off for him.
I mean, if you can play him at tight end, maybe, but other than
I could see that.
I kind of want to go back to what was the one you said before that? Oh, the Laviska. Yeah, Laviska. So before they got Chris Thompson, I was very excited about it. But the Chris Thompson kind of takes away some of those in the backfield pass catching roles that I thought he might get. I think Chris Thompson knows the offense is going to take a little bit of that away.
Well, not only that, Brad,
came out before the signing.
Yeah, Brad, you talked about it. You see him kind of as a gadget guy, and it sounds like they're going to use him like a gadget guy, like a Tavon Austin, which I hate because it never seems to work out.
Wait, it depends on the offense that's using them, if they're using them right. You know what I'm saying? Do we really
trust who's it? Jay Gruden is the coordinator now there?
Yeah.
If they use him at the tight end, we saw Jordan Reed have his best years under Jay Gruden.
Yeah, but Jordan Reed's like a true tight end though. Like he's got the size.
I know. But I'm just saying if he's running those style routes and they're drawing plays up for him to get him open.
Yeah. Okay. I think it's interesting, but now what we're going to talk about is FSA, but FSA is going to be kind of linked to what our next topic is, and that is a Superflex dynasty draft. Now,
just because you start one on Monday?
Well, you're in one currently. So
I'm only in one now. I was in 3.
So, okay. So anyway, FSA, they have one draft going on right now. By the time this comes out, the second will be started for an Alpha and a Bravo League. Charlie League is also filling up right now for Dynasty. It's an amazing product. We did the selection show today. He did a parade of teams along with finding out where everyone's going to be picked. I'm in the Bravo League. Brad's in the Alpha League. Eric will probably be in the Charlie League by the time this posts. We're really trying to work that angle. So
no, that's not going to happen.
If we talk him into it 3 weeks later, he's going to have buyer's regret and he's going to hate it.
I'm going to play redraft with FSA because I think it'll be a lot of fun. and I'm going to stick with redraft because I'm already in 2 dynasty leagues that I regret being in. So,
and you want to focus on the ones you have. You don't like spreading yourself.
Right. Yes, I would like to focus on the ones I have. Agreed.
I want to spread myself out.
I want to spread myself as thin as possible so you continue to not win.
Like Star-Lord's dad from Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you're looking in our redraft league that we have with other people from work, the previous 3 winners are us. So
weird.
I mean,
we need to spread our seed.
You got to share the love. So anyway,
no, I'm going to continue to love the leagues I'm in and win.
So,
well, except for that one league we're in together, Eric. We hate that league, but it's okay.
Check out Brian at fsa-fr.com. There's videos posted on his Facebook page right now and on the YouTube page for Fantasy Sports Alliance. You can find them on Twitter at fsa-fr. You can Google search Fantasy Sports Alliance. You're going to be able to find everything you want of these guys. Please check them out. Now, the Alpha League had a dynasty draft that started, and this is a Superflex tight end premium league. 3 wide receivers. There's 2 more flex spots. There's 2 running back spots. It's a deep, deep league. There's 28 rounds in a 12.
Yep. We're in round, I believe, 20.
It's thick.
How much time do you get per pick?
6 hours, but overnight it kind of pauses.
Yeah. But that's overnight good. People can still pick and you can keep going. So, and I've been keeping track of it. I'll wake up and there'll still be like 8 more picks that have already happened.
Yeah, we're averaging about, I think, 20 to 30 minutes per pick with everybody with the time zone differences, because there's people from all over the world in this league with us. And, there's been some guys waking up in the middle of sleep to make picks and going back to bed. We feel really bad about it, but hey, he's doing great things.
Absolutely. Now
he stole Leonard Fournette for me in the middle of the night.
So did you really want him?
Yeah. He was like the 10th round.
He scored the 10th round. All right. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. All right. Good enough.
And that's the crazy thing about these drafts is it's not normal in what you're going to see because you're adding extra dynamics. And this is a half-point PPR, but now you have a tight end premium, which means tight ends are worth more. So sorry, it was a 5th. It was a 5th round. I lied. It was 5th. I over-exaggerated. But we did see a guy like Travis Kelce who went in the first round of a dynasty league. It was first round. He went 11th overall. It was second round?
Second round.
Kittle was the first one.
Kittle, that's what I meant. Kittle went first round, 11th overall.
Which was my pick, but it wasn't my pick.
Because Brad has done more trades than I think is necessary personally, but he's done quite a few of them. Now, Brad, you can talk us through your first pick, how you got there, and why you chose it.
So I wanted a quarterback. I wanted one of the big quarterbacks. I wanted a Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. No, I did. And then Mahomes went number 1. Mahomes went number 1. I saw it. And then I was like, I don't really want to. I'd already put out some offers to some people for the second and for the third. And I was like, they're just going to want some more. So I was just like, okay, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. Well, the guy who had the 6th pick, I want to get his name because I know he does listen to the show here. Chris, who had the 2nd pick for the Las Vegas Outlaws, I believe he actually messaged me first and was like, hey, do you want this? Would you be willing to trade up? And I'm like, well, let's do it. We talked about it.
Oh, he's dying. Got the beer cough.
If I can talk.
A beer cough.
That's a $5 fine for clearing your throat in the microphone.
I think a fly flew in my mouth.
Ooh, yummy.
Yeah. So I traded the 11th pick. Oh God, I can't talk. For the 6th pick. I also gave up my 3rd round, and he threw in a 7th. I paid up a little bit for it, but got Lamar Jackson with a 6th pick overall.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes.
So
it's interesting that you chose Lamar Jackson. He's the 2nd quarterback taken.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you expect some regression from Lamar Jackson?
100% regression. Okay. But like I got talking to the chat room there, he's got the great floor of his legs. I mean, injuries can happen to anybody. Injuries happen to Patrick Mahomes. Injuries can happen to any quarterback at any time, right? Even Eli Manning has missed games,
Yes.
That was his own coach's fault, but whatever. Every quarterback, anybody can get hurt at any time. Tom Brady missed a whole season after he set the world on fire. So, I mean, could that happen? Yeah. But with the legs, with the offense that's built around Lamar Jackson, where they are literally making him the focal point of that offense with the weapons they're building for him, they're very smart. It's a lot like Michael Vick of the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Except a better built team for his skills.
And I think he has a better arm, like accuracy with his arm. Maybe not the strength, because Mike Vick had a cannon, but
he could throw it a country mile.
Maybe didn't know where it was going.
Yeah.
Yes, and he had Lamar Jackson. This is an interesting stat that I saw, that he threw a touchdown on 9% of the throws that he attempted. So the reason that's relevant is because every quarterback who's had a mark of 8.5% or above has regressed the next year with a minimum of at least 2%. So you're looking at least.
But if I can say something.
Yes.
No quarterback has ever led an offense to 200 yards passing, 200 yards rushing a game average. So
absolutely. I'm not arguing these points, but I'm saying statistically, that's because defenses know how to scheme for him a little bit better. And that's a big focal point of it. Now, some of this is like trivia, like Mark Rypien. Mark Rypien was one of these guys. Do you remember Mark Rypien?
Mm-hmm.
Was Rypien.
Washington?
Mark Rypien.
Ripping and rolling. Nick Foles, when he had that great year when he threw 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But these guys are going to regress. That's what happens. So he's going to regress a little bit, but we're saying even if he stays at 7%. 7%.
We said the same thing about Patrick Mahomes last year, though. When he threw, 40-some touchdowns? We're like, he ain't going to throw 40 again. Like, I don't expect the same numbers, but
no,
I do expect him to float around that top 5 quarterback for years.
Absolutely. Now, what I think is interesting is that this is a super flex league. The first pick was Patrick Mahomes, completely justifiable in a super flex dynasty startup. Now, after that, we saw skill players go for the next 4 picks. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Those two are fine with.
McCaffrey had 470 points last year.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just got a big contract extension. I think those are solid picks.
Saquon's young. Saquon's young. And he's
Zeke and Michael Thomas.
That's
Michael Thomas, I question a little bit. Actually, I question all 3 of them with Jackson and Deshaun Watson still on the board. They're justifiable, but I think you still have to think, why not go with a quarterback there in a super flex league?
I will defend the Zeke pick, because if you're picking at 3 or 4 or wherever, I think Zeke went 3, which I think 3 is a little high.
4.
3. 4. Sorry, he went 4.
I'm looking.
You're gonna have to wait. You're gonna have to wait till the snake comes all the way back around. You get your number 1 running back. Like, if you don't take a running back, like I didn't in the first 3 rounds, your running backs are going to be very RB2-ish.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's fair, because your quarterbacks can carry the load, though.
Yeah. And Michael Thomas, who was amazing in PPR, Josh, you're going to use that stat from Fantasy Pros that you stole from Michael Thomas about how he had 1 single game that was in the top 40 for wide receivers last year in single game. So he was very consistent all season, but he didn't have any of those blow up, win you a week, Tyreek Hill type weeks.
The crazy thing about his numbers last year, too, is he only had 185 targets, but he shattered the record for most receptions in a season.
He didn't have Drew Brees. There was a lot of stuff going on there. It was
right. But he still made the most of that, of every target he got last year. He's awesome. So.
Yes.
Is it a safe pick at 5? Yeah.
Are you surprised at the 7th pick? Is that the most surprising pick in the first round? I just want to say.
For me, and I don't want to rip on the Boston Brawlers.
He put a good team together.
Yeah, and I don't want to knock that. But for me personally, I do not want Derrick Henry in the first round.
It is half PPR, so that kind of brings people down to Derrick Henry's level.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But when you look at that and you see that Dalvin Cook was still on the board, Alvin Kamara, Nuke, there were other guys.
George Kittle. I mean, we can talk about this tight end premium. Tight ends get a full PPR. Everybody else gets half.
I still don't know that I could justify a tight end in the first round with Superflex. If it was just a regular tight end premium half point PPR league, then yes, I could see that. I could see that more.
Again, like I said with Zeke, he's not coming back around to you.
You're right. He
might have, because he had my 3rd pick, which ended up because
wow.
This was a 3rd round reversal league, which my 3rd pick was very good. It was the 2nd pick in the 3rd round, which really made me not want to trade it. But you got to go get your guy.
Yeah, that's true.
You got to get your guy, and I think that's fair. That's what you did, Brad, and that's what this guy did. Is he got his guy, but then he made a smart pick with his next pick, and he ended up taking Russell Wilson in the 2nd round
Yep.
Very smart pick. So he's got 2 premium players.
And he took Russell Wilson after Dak, and I took Deshaun, and Kyler Murray went. And there was kind of a little run on quarterback, so it was like, well, if I don't get him.
Absolutely.
Wait, we're still talking about the Brawlers?
No, these are the Las Vegas Outlaws.
Oh, the Outlaws. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So it is amazing to me that you're seeing these teams and how they're pieced together. For me personally, I think if you're not going to get – so I have a tier of quarterbacks, and there's 4 of them in my top tier. If you're not going to get one of those, then you don't have to spend high draft capital on them.
Who is your top 4? I want to.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Lamar.
Yep.
Okay.
Patty. Yep.
D-Watt.
Nope. Tier break.
D-Watt. Dak.
So Dak and D-Watt, I can't put them with the other 2.
You don't have to, but I'm telling you, Dak was second best quarterback in all of fantasy last year.
Yep. And Mahomes was hurt most of the year. And Tyreek Hill, his number 1 weapon, was hurt.
And Dak's offense got better?
Did it, though?
Oh, it did.
That remains to be seen. No, that remains to be seen.
His offensive line is getting worse. That's something you have to say. He's had
potato, tomato.
They got that center from Wisconsin. They'll be okay.
But there's okay.
They're from Wisconsin. They're plug and play.
I mean, he's still a rookie, so it's not going to be great. But at the same
time, Dak had 1 good year.
Yes, true. Whereas Mahomes, we know, can put up those numbers, and like you said earlier, Brad, Lamar has that high floor with his rushing numbers.
And when he took over,
yards rushing last year,
when he took over for Joe Flacco, he was having good year too. Like if you go back that far too,
that's true.
Into that year, he
threw for 5 touchdowns like 3 times last year.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson. So I don't know if you can put.
And he's quicker than a hiccup.
I think Watson could be that guy, but I agree with Brad. I would tier break after Mahomes and Jackson.
My biggest problem with Watson is that he lost his number 1 dude. And that's like his go-to guy. He is every game Deshaun Watson's played. DeAndre Hopkins has been there his whole career.
Yeah, he's not going to be a Texan after his first contract's up.
So how do you all feel about Kyler Murray being the 5th quarterback taken?
He was 7th in fantasy points last year in PPR for quarterbacks.
If with Nuke being there and hopefully getting a better red zone offense, the red zone offense is what kind of hurt Kyler because he got a lot of yardage. He got all that other stuff. The touchdowns just weren't there because they could not score when they got in the red zone. I think with another year in the system, they'll figure that out. And I'm so glad it's going to be on YouTube. Your daughter's creeping behind you down the stairs, Josh. It's but all right, so Josh is taking care of that. I don't want to pick apart because I think a lot of dudes did there's a lot of great draft picks in this draft. And I don't want to say bad ones. I think Russell Wilson, that was a great pick in the second round. We already talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Godwin
Tyreek Hill in the second is a nice pick. I mean, you can see a lot of different strategies.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire going in the second round above Joe Mixon's, Aaron Jones, above some other running backs that have maybe had better track records.
I think that's a lot of faith in Kansas City's offense and Andy Reid and in the kind of buying into the hype surrounding him. I think it's too early, but again, you said you got to go get your guy, and you never know when a rookie's going to go in any draft, in a fantasy draft in a redraft or a dynasty league. So
can we agree? Do you guys remember Kareem Hunt, his rookie year? Do you guys remember what school he came out of?
No.
Toledo.
So he came out of Toledo. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire came out of LSU.
Yup.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a more talented player than Kareem Hunt. Can we agree with that?
He was in a better offense in college. I can agree to that.
He's a more talented player. I think we can agree with that.
I can agree. He was in a more.
I can agree
he was a more talented player coming out of high school.
Okay. All right. So anyway, he, in my opinion, is a more talented player than Kareem Hunt is. Kareem Hunt finished.
Never fumbled the ball in college.
Kareem Hunt finished number 4 in PPR as a rookie, and with Alex Smith.
Yep.
That actually makes more sense.
No. Patrick Mahomes, better quarterback.
Okay. You say your whole piece, and I'll rebut some of it. I have some reservations about Clyde.
I think the upside is there. Now, yes, Damian Williams is still there. So I don't know if this is going to work out this year. That is my issue with it. But as far as the future goes, I think the sky is the limit for this kid. I really do. And I honestly believe that if you're willing to lump a second round this year, okay. But by the end of the year, he's going to take the job. Kareem rises to the top, boys.
So Kareem Hunt was a third-round pick. We all said that, he got his break, though, because Spencer Ware got hurt, and there were no other viable running backs on the team. Spencer Ware went out, ACL, out for the year, pushed him up. Clyde's going to be playing in a committee backfield. It was a huge committee last year. We all hated it. LaShawn McCoy would be nothing for 2 weeks, and then he would come in there and vulture touchdowns for a couple weeks.
Yes.
Darrell Williams would come in there. Damian Williams. They went out and got the Washington from the Raiders. It's just a big backfield with a lot of players. And a rookie who, yes, he caught, 50-some balls last year in college?
Yes.
But the year prior, he had caught 15 in his 3 years. He was not a pass-catching guy. All of LSU's numbers were very inflated because they had the best offense almost ever in college football.
They did. They really did.
You know what I'm saying? They broke, Joe Burrow broke all the records.
And Clyde caught over 50 passes.
Yes. 1 year. So I don't know if it's a 1 year thing or if it was this has always been his talent.
I mean, they have a pretty good history of producing pretty good running backs down there in LSU. Lenny came from there.
Yep.
If you know Lenny. There was another guy. So
there was another guy.
LSU, it's SEC football. I get it. They play against the best defenses, and everything he does gets highlighted because he's on ESPN every night.
Who was Cincinnati's running back before Joe Mixon got there? Who was the guy before Joe Mixon?
It was
he came from LSU.
The law firm?
No. Giovanni Bernard.
No, not Gio.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I'm just saying it's a lot of faith. I understand people. I don't even like taking him in the 1-1 in rookie drafts. I just have reservations about the committee he's going to be in. But I'm a big J.K. Dobbins who has to fight with Mark Ingram. But Mark Ingram has been usurped by players before.
I don't think he's going to fight too much with Mark Ingram. I think he's going to be in there like swimwear, but that's all right.
We'll see all these guys. So we're talking about the big four, right? They're all going to have competition, all of them. Kerryon Johnson's 22 years old. DeAndre Swift is the more talented player. Not arguing that. Not arguing that at all. But Kerryon Johnson, it's not like he's just going to roll over there. Same thing is going to happen in Indianapolis. Jonathan Taylor, better pure runner than Marlon Mack. But Marlon Mack, once again, not going to roll over. These guys, they're all going to have competitions. The person who probably has the clearest path is the guy we're not talking about, and that's Cam Akers. Cam Akers' competition is almost non-existent. I understand.
Darrell Williams.
Darrell
Henderson.
I understand he's there and he's a warm body.
Malcolm Brown, Eric. I didn't forget about you.
Yeah, let's not forget about those guys. But the fact of the matter is that they're all better than the people that they're replacing.
But they're all not going to be great. We've seen the draft. All these quarterbacks aren't going to pan out either. We've seen all these quarterbacks getting taken to the top. They're not all going to pan out. All these running backs aren't going to pan out. You got to get a lot of them. There was just some things, and I understand this is dynasty, but another thing that kind of blew my mind was Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb, who I'm big on, but going before Devonta Parker. I think a lot of people forgot what Parker did after Adam Gase left, what he did last year. I think everybody's still soured on the Adam Gase years of Parker and being in Miami.
Well, yeah, I believe that, but I also
the rookies are great, but CD is going to be fighting with targets from Amari Cooper and Zeke getting all the touches. Jerry Jeudy's got your boy.
It's important too to think that a lot of these guys don't really have a great year until their third year in the league. Statistically, that's when wide receivers really seem to pop. I mean, because a lot of these guys, they play in one position in college. They don't run a huge route tree. And then when you come to the NFL, you're asked to learn every route tree most of the time from every position, from the slot, the outside. You're asked to learn all of that stuff and what all the new lingo means and everything like that. And these guys, it takes them a little while to get there. And then you have to work on timing too. and timing is going to be jacked up this year because of the offseason. These guys who are going to be – if it's going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing this year, guess who knows how to catch a ball from Ryan Fitzpatrick? Your boy.
Yeah, Parker. I'm pretty sure it was Brian again. Took him from me. Ooh, it's okay. No, it's okay. It was. All right, there was just a lot that happened this draft. It was a long draft, and I couldn't even pay attention. I have 9 draft picks going into 2021, though. Whew. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that.
And supposedly next year's wide receiver class is supposed to be just as talented, if not better, than this one.
Next year's class is always better than the class before it, no matter
That's
what.
true. Just like our generation is better than the one that came or
it's just what
before
the hype starts coming. Like the draft's over, so now we start hyping the next year's rookies up and like, man.
Well,
ETN's coming out next year, boys.
Travis Etienne, I wish he would have come out this year, but it's okay because it makes the running backs a little bit better next year.
He's probably going to get paid more based on that coming out next year, though.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. Tank for Trevor. Tank for Trevor.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there's a lot of good players that are going to be coming out next year, but Alabama has 2 more first-round wide receivers coming out next year.
Yeah.
2 more.
Yeah. Well,
Alabama
they have
has
5 stars
slowly-
backing up 5 stars backing up 5 stars. So, I mean, of course they
Nick
do.
Saban goes to the college football playoffs and just holds up his recruiting trophy.
So this is something interesting we talk about. Let's talk about some players who we're kind of nervous about going into this season. Maybe their jobs aren't as concrete as we'd like. Maybe their health isn't. Their situation has changed. I think that would be interesting to talk about for a moment. I was posed this question on Twitter. The guy who immediately came to my mind was Austin Eckler.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to remember, he made his money through the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
quarterback is different. I understand. We still got the Tyrod Taylor dump-off king there who's going to be doing all that. The coaching staff hasn't changed that much. Tyrod Taylor's very careful with the ball. Brad's looking at me like I'm crazy, but he is.
I'm thinking it.
I'm a little nervous, especially based on his draft capital that you're having to spend to get Austin Eckler, especially in redraft leagues. He's going to the first round. And I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know. I'm not as sold on him, I think, as everyone else. So
most of his points were done through the passing game. I understand what you're saying, Josh. And passing backs that are primarily pass catchers usually do not repeat. Chris Thompson was a very high one. His was injuries, but anything could happen.
James White.
James White actually has been kind of consistent the last couple of years.
Consistent.
He didn't finish.
But that was Tom.
Again.
But that was Tom Brady. And it's just you have a lot of these primary pass catching guys, and it's why I kind of faded Christian McCaffrey wrongly a couple of years ago was because a lot of his work was coming in the passing game, and Cam was doing a lot of the short yardage.
So here's a stat for you, Josh, and our listeners. Austin Eckler scored 193.3 half PPR points through the air alone, which is the most ever for a running back. Christian McCaffrey scored 182.5 points himself, which ranks number 3 all time.
Yeah.
So that's pretty incredible. That's from Fantasy Pros, by the way. They dropped a 175 interesting facts regarding last year's season for fantasy. So check that out if you haven't already. But
like we're talking about Lamar Jackson with regression, that's 100% going to be regression there with Austin Eckler.
You're going to see regression from those guys, but it's not like Aaron Jones' 19 touchdowns. Like those are more repeatable numbers, like him running for 1,000 yards. I feel like it's more repeatable for Lamar Jackson than Aaron Jones getting 19 touchdowns. And I feel like Austin Eckler scoring 150 half-point PPR points or 160 half-point PPR points are more doable than something like that. Like Galladay's 11 touchdowns. That regression I see hitting those guys a lot harder than this stuff hitting Jackson and like Eckler.
Okay.
So what are some other guys that you guys are a little bit nervous about?
Chris Carson. And it seems like we say this every year. It's Pete Carroll. It's, he'll be ready for the start of the season. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. That's just like the doomsday thing from Pete Carroll. Oh, he's our guy. Everything about Seattle, because you can't get a beat on what Pete Carroll wants to do. They took DJ Dallas out of the U.
What round did they take him in? Do you remember?
4th?
Fourth also came to mind as well. I just wanted to make sure that was
I believe it was
semi-accurate.
And Chris Carson was, what, a 6th-round pick?
He was a 7th round.
Seventh, yeah. So he's a guy they don't have a lot of, and they've never really wanted to give him the role. They've tried to push Rashad Penny.
He's taking it out.
He's just one of those guys I'm a little worried about. Like, I drafted him in the FSA league, but he was getting pretty late, and you
got good value there. I think if he's healthy, if his hip is all the way back, I think you got good value there.
The thing is that last year I looked at him as 2019's Alex Collins, because I remember I did going into the season based on the paper thin loyalty that they had to have to this guy. They already paid up for Rashad Penny. He was supposed to be the guy. Chris Carson.
Yeah, he went in round 2.
And if Rashad Penny was healthy, I think Rashad Penny would have taken that job.
Absolutely. He's had issues staying healthy. First year he had some health problems, but he also came in kind of out of shape. So I'm wondering, now Rashad Penny's also got the torn ACL already, right?
Yeah. He tore it at the very end of the year, so he's going to start the year on the pup more than likely. And
yeah, that's a 1-year injury. He probably won't be back for this regular season at least.
So Chris Carson's a guy that we're constantly nervous about, but he's a guy that he just refuses to lose that job for whatever reason.
He's like a zombie, just keeps coming at you.
No, and it's just one of those things I'm worried. I worry about it every year with Chris Carson. Mm-hmm. Like every time coming into the draft, especially if he doesn't play in the preseason. If I'm not seeing him in the preseason, and DJ Dallas or some of these other guys get that hot hand.
So I think, are we more wary of these guys, especially let's say there isn't a preseason? There's not really a huge offseason program. They're doing virtual programs right now.
Yep.
Are we a little bit more wary of these guys like the Chris Carsons, who have a little bit of injury and they might not be coming in the season completely healthy? I know I am. I don't want anything to do with them if there's no offseason program. And
I'm more worried with the rookies with no offseason program. Like you said, getting the timing down, getting pass protection for these young running backs, because pass protection in the NFL is a lot different than the college ranks. So I have a lot of that. The Jonathan Taylor that a lot of guys love going to the Colts, who didn't play in hardly any passing work at all. Like, I'm really nervous about that with the statue that is Phillip Rivers, who loves to dump it off.
That's fair.
I know Keyshawn Vaughn better get it together. That's his ticket to playing. I know that.
Do you guys have I kind of want to give you – Eric, do you have anybody you're worried about?
Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Yeah.
His workload, the sheer amount of punishment he took, maybe not having an off-season program is maybe it's better for him because he has more time to rest. But at the same time, he's a bigger guy. If he comes even a little bit out of shape after that beating he took last year, that makes me super nervous.
And he was getting kind of banged up too. Like, let's not forget, going the playoff run, he was hurt, and they were managing his reps during the week.
He got like 120 carries in like 3 games or something like that. Over 100 carries in 3 games. Plus, he had 300 and something carries on the regular season. I worry about that. I mean, we all saw those guys back in the day: Priest Holmes, Larry Johnson, those old running backs that hit that 375, 400 mark and just fell apart. So.
All right, I want to kind of give you guys this question because it came up in one of my other leagues. What if there's no college football this year with everything that's going on with the COVID-19? What if they cancel college football this year and they allow all the players that should have their senior season to go into the supplemental draft? How would this change your dynasty? So let's say they supplemental draft them. So you've already done your rookie draft and these players are in the waiver pool. Do you let people just have first dibs at waivers, or do you do a second little bit of rookie drafts, and how do you go about doing the picks? Ooh. So let's say they let ETN and Trevor Lawrence and all these guys come in this year. Like, oh, hey, there's not going to be college. We don't want
I say the fairest way to do that is a supplemental auction draft.
Okay, an auction draft.
Where everybody has a chance to get any player. If you really want the guy you want, you're going to spend your fab or whatever they call it.
So I was going to ask you, do you use your fab money for auction draft? Do you give the teams that finish worse more money to use in the auction? Like, how are you going to do this to make it okay?
I wouldn't make anybody use their fab for the regular season. for like waiver moves and stuff, I would give everybody a pool of, say it's a 3-round draft. Okay. Everybody gets 150. That's probably enough.
Okay.
And then that way
really whatever you give them, you just got to manage it properly.
Right. You got to manage it. Well, that's the whole thing with an auction draft. So if you've never done an auction draft, it's a ton of fun if you can do it in person.
So my only thing with that is because the rookie draft is about, just like the NFL, about making the weaker team stronger to keep the parity alive. Because if the team that won the championship sees Travis Etienne and they just say, okay, I'm only taking one pick in this whole supplemental thing, I'm throwing all my money at him. And then or Superflex, and that team that has 2 or 3 good quarterbacks says, oh, Trevor Lawrence is out there, all my money at Trevor Lawrence.
But ideally,
I mean, that's just a thing that'll be out there. Because if I'm sitting out there and I'm one quarterback away and I'm like, okay, I have Phillip Rivers or Drew Brees or something, and that was kind of my guy that won me the championship last year. An older guy, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I won it with Ryan Fitzpatrick, which I did in our one league. Some people did last year.
But ideally, if the regular rookie draft went the way it normally would, like I know we have a lottery in our league, or if people traded away their picks, you traded away your picks. But ideally, that rookie draft should be there to make those worst teams stronger, correct?
Yeah.
So they probably would have had the 1-1, 1-2, 1-3. And then that way, if they feel like they go into this supplemental draft and they're like, well, one more guy and I think I'm set for a couple more years, they throw all their money at him.
Okay. So. I was,
That's just a suggestion. I think that's the most fair way to give everybody a shot at every player.
Because this is just speculation, but I mean.
I like that idea a lot. I also think that maybe let's say you give people a $200 budget in this so-called, auction draft. Well, let's say you do that, but then you would have to go off of strength of schedule in case somebody decided to bet the whole farm, right? So like you went 200, somebody else went 200. At that point, you would just go off wins, losses. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be the fairest way to do it. I don't know. I like the auction strategy quite a bit, but maybe doing another mini draft would be good. I don't know.
I was thinking a mini draft with a draft lottery aspect to it, where the best team gets 1 ping pong ball, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down. You do it and you pick out to see who gets first, second pick. That way it's not exactly the same as your other one, and you can give some people some more chances to move around.
What if you just take the rookies from the other teams and just throw them back in there again? That would really make everyone happy, right?
No, I'm pretty sure that would, especially because people have made roster moves too.
Yeah, people have made,
and that's the problem. As soon as I've made in that 32 team league, me and you are in, Josh, I've already dropped 6 players or 9 players or something.
I still can't believe you guys stayed in that league.
It was fun, man.
It's great.
I've never done a 32 team league.
Yeah,
with one player pool. That's what I mean. I've never done one with one player pool.
Yeah,
32
crazy.
teams, one player pool, only a super flex spot, no quarterback slot. Your teams aren't deep. It's just the league's deep.
The teams are deep. The teams are super deep.
They're not that deep. It's just the league is super deep.
CJ Anderson.
No. They're a mile wide and an inch deep. That's how that's how your teams are.
You go.
Yes.
But no, that was just something that came up with college, and I hadn't thought about it, but that is a thing that's out there with colleges possibly not participating in sports this year because of, your teams like Alabama and your big schools will probably fight this pretty hard because that's a lot of revenue loss for the school. But, your UConns and your smaller schools are going to be like, no, that we don't make that much money off our football team anyway. So
I think we'll still see college. I think we'll still see regular NFL football too. Maybe not with packed stadiums.
NFL football is different because those players are getting paid. That's their job. College,
that's
you
true.
Still have to protect the student athlete because you say they do not get a paycheck.
Blech.
I'm just saying that is something that
garbage. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. But I would be good with either of those. The draft lottery is fine, and then I think the auction is also a good idea. The draft lottery, the only thing with that is that can kind of backfire on you, where the rich get richer if they do get that first round pick.
You could just throw them in the free agency, and that's your fab, boys.
Yeah, well, that's virtually the same as the auction idea.
Well, that was the same as when Gronk came out. When Gronk came out of retirement, like he'd been dropped in a lot of leagues, and it was how much you want to make it rain on Gronk while he's twerking it out.
Y'all can have him and his 3 back surgeries. It's fine.
Yeah, that back surgery's going to carry me. I didn't get him in any leagues. I couldn't pay up that much.
You can still draft him in FSA, right? Or has he already been taken?
Oh, he was taken like the 4th round, 5th round.
What about a player that you're excited about that's not a rookie, maybe somebody we haven't talked about yet?
Rookie,
6th round.
A non-rookie, I'm excited about.
The guy I'm excited about because his second year in the league now is Mecole Hardman.
Okay.
I'm excited about him. I understand Sammy Watkins is going to hurt his little value a little bit, but Sammy's going to get injured. We know that. We don't – and whenever he does get injured, it's not if, it's when. He does get injured. By the way, Eric, you stole me for a pie bet.
Didn't he play like almost all the games last year?
He played 12. He played like 14, actually, I think, right?
Yeah, he played far more.
He played more than 12.
Expected. Far more than Eric expected.
I mean,
yes,
fantasy-wise, he wasn't worth playing in most of those games.
No, but he still played. That was the whole – that was the only – that was the only thing that mattered.
You got to remember, I'm excited about Mecole Hardman because he's real fast. Real fast. And another stat that I want to bring up real quick is that he averaged 2.77 PPR points per target last year, which is the 4th best mark amongst wide receivers over the last 10 years. So per target, very good. You just got to get more targets. And now they're getting a little thin over there in Kansas City, but I'm expecting him to have a bigger role and Sammy Watkins' role to start diminishing because this will be his last year in Kansas City. I don't see them re-signing him.
Okay. Eric, you want to go ahead and do you have a guy I'm
excited about? I want to talk about somebody that I haven't talked about like on past shows because I know I've talked about Devontae Parker. I really like him. And then who was the other running back? The running back I talked about, Joe Mixon. I thought Joe Mixon would be an exciting pick this year because he got his quarterback.
Don't dig too deep. Don't dig too deep in the player pool.
Yeah. I'm just going to go with A.J. Brown because he was also included with that stat that Josh just gave for Mecole Hardman. And I think he's going to get a lot of easy looks because now they got Thunder and Lightning down there. So Jack Johnson and Tom O'Leary. So they got a nice change of pace back there now. So I think that could open up a few things for him in Tennessee.
Thunder and Lightning was Chris Johnson and Lindell White. Okay.
Lindell White,
the Tennessee
from USC.
Titan, Thunder.
I thought that was the New York Giants when they had Tiki and Ron Dane, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's been a lot of Thunder.
And Brandon, I think Brandon Jacobs was also considered Thunder there for a little while too with somebody else that was there. There's been lots of Thunder and Lightning pairings, but I like it. It's a good little setup, and hopefully it will give Derrick Henry a little break. I know I'm still not huge, crazy high on him, but he should get plenty of easy looks off play action with the way they've built that team. So
okay.
The guy I am excited for, Anthony Miller, Chicago. Okay.
Even though he's on your trade block.
Yes.
Everyone's on his trade block. Yeah. He has no loyalty.
I didn't get him in. I was going to take him in FSA. He got picked one round, right? A couple picks right before I got on the clock. I like him this year. If Mitch is there, whatever. If Mitch is there or if Nick Foles gets the job, whoever's starting quarterback there, they got rid of Taylor Gabriel. And when Taylor Gabriel was out last year, we saw Anthony Miller. He came out of Memphis with a lot of – I liked him coming out of college, and it just never has came along. This is going to be, his third year coming in the league, third or fourth year? Plenty of time in the system. He can just do some things out there when he gets the opportunity. We don't have the Trey Burton out there of whatever is going on. We do have 28 tight ends on the roster in Chicago, so we'll see what happens there.
I have one more if I can find the stat.
Is it Mike Gesicki? Because I love Mike Gesicki.
It's not Mike Gesicki. And you have him listed as the only option there on your sleeper nicknames?
Yeah.
They got Devontae Parker. What are you talking about, man?
Only option, bud. Only option.
Jordan Howard. Yeah, Matt Breida.
Yeah,
only option, bud. It's going to be just fine. Mike Gesicki.
They got the best.
He was a tight end one last year.
They got the best defensive backfield in the AFC East.
Are you excited?
They took Byron Jones from the Cowboys.
Are you excited to see what's going to happen with Caleb Ballage since he is the worst running back of all time?
They got Jordan Howard, bud. They're good.
Jordan Howard, yeah.
Then they trade for Mostert.
Breida.
They got
Matt Breida.
now,
That's
too.
right, Matt Breida.
Yeah,
It's like I
Caden
just said
Block's
this
probably going
stuff.
to be unemployed.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Caleb Block?
There's a stat in here for the in the Fantasy Pros about Darius Slayton. I cannot remember what it is, but I'm excited for Darius Slayton too. I think another year with Locke, Saquon's healthy. Hopefully Ingram can stay healthy and open up some stuff in the passing game for them. So I think Slayton's a nice little.
Okay, so here's what it
stab.
is. These rookie wide receivers scored more touchdowns than Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, Cortland Sutton, Julian Edelman, and Stephon Diggs.
That's
it's A.J.
the one.
Brown,
Thank you.
Darius Slayton, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, and Marquise Brown. DK Metcalf is another dude who had a lot of red zone targets last year. They finally started coming around, but he had a lot. Greg Olsen there, I don't know how that's going to affect those red zone targets because Greg Olsen can still box somebody out. We
He'll be
saw
hurt.
Jimmy Graham do it in his twilight of his years, just going 2 yards and just turning around and just putting his butt in somebody's chest and pushing them back like meta world peace down there.
Like Charles Barkley, just
Yeah, buddy. Chuck.
big old ass right in your way. I don't think Olsen will be healthy, but you got Disley there. You got
Hollister.
That makes it a little tough. But given the looks he got last year, like you said, I think he'll get just as many looks. He's an exciting young player. He'll be good. So
There's a lot of those second-year wide receivers I'm kind of excited about. I wish I could have got some more in this FSA. Even Paris Campbell and all these dudes. We saw DJ Chark, disappointing first year and the second year.
Mm-hmm. We'll
a lot
see.
better. DJ Moore,
Yeah.
disappointing. Second year blew up. So
I'll tell you what, reading those Fantasy Pros facts, I really cooled off on Curtis Samuel because some of his stuff is brutal.
But is that Curtis Samuel or is that the quarterback play? Because that was just a hodgepodge of who
That's
was terrible
true.
quarterback.
Because Cam was hurt, and then they went to
If
Kyle.
they weren't going to, if it wasn't a play for DJ Moore and if it wasn't a play for Christian McCaffrey, they were just like, oh.
Yeah, I would still stash Curtis Samuel. Like, I wouldn't drop him. I'm not telling you to drop him or anything like that. But I don't think you're going to be like, yep, I'm going to start him in my flex.
But Robbie Anderson's there.
Robbie Anderson ain't going to take anything from him. Teddy can't throw that far. I love Teddy, but he ain't throwing no deep balls.
Dude, he can ride a bike for 75 miles, bruh.
Are you saying
That means he's got good cardio. It doesn't mean he's got good arm strength.
Yeah, it's
All
fair.
right, we're kind of going off the rails here a little bit. All right, Josh. So we talked about FSA draft. I want to talk. You said you got the first pick in yours.
101.
What are you going to do?
101. You're talking about possibly trading, possibly moving it.
I want to trade it. I don't want the 101. In a bonsai draft, this is not ideal.
Okay, but bonsai means third round reversal. Means that
I get the first pick, the 24th pick, and the 36th pick.
Yes. And then you would get then it's
the 37th, and then it's snakes.
Right. And that's to even out draft value, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So if I keep it, I'm going Patty Mahomes, easy. If I can trade it, then I will try to get one of my other top 4 quarterbacks with my trade.
Ideally Lamar or ideally Deshaun, or
it would be probably Dak would be 2, then D Watt.
Oh, so much more faith in my team than I have.
I'm not as high on Lamar. I'm not as high on Lamar on Jackson as everyone.
Love him.
That's fair. That's fair. Look, that's fair. I'm not arguing with it.
Yeah,
He's a Heisman winning quarterback.
Well, there's a lot of guys who won a Heisman.
He's from the Ville. He's a Ville-billy.
Okay.
a villain.
Baker Mayfield won a Heisman too. So
He sure did. Oh.
Tim Tebow, Cam Newton,
Vinny Testaverde.
Derrick Henry won a Heisman. What's he doing now? You want to keep going?
He was running over people last year.
Yeah,
he was wrecking fools last year, doing great things last year.
Eric Crouch won Heisman at Nebraska and never played a down at quarterback in the NFL because the St. Louis Rams drafted him as a wide receiver in the 4th
Tim
round.
Tebow won 2 and won 1 playoff game. I'm just saying.
He won 2.
Yeah, no, the Heisman thing is
2 Heisman. Did he win 2 Heismans?
He only won 1.
Oh, he won once?
the only guy to ever win 2 Heismans is Archie Griffith.
Yeah, from the Ohio State.
I think so. I don't remember what school. Archie Griffith.
It was the Ohio State.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Herschel Walker stole one from Bo Jackson. So
Herschel Walker was amazing in college. How dare you?
He is. He is very good. Anyway, off the
Okay,
rails.
so Josh, if you couldn't take a quarterback, let's say for some reason you fall in the draft and all the quarterbacks go, who's the first position player you'd want to take in this and why? Would it be Saquon or would it be Christian McCaffrey?
Christian McCaffrey.
Why? Explain that. He's in his second year. He's in his second contract, which we see running backs historically in the second contract, we start to see a decline.
I like what Matt Rule's going to do with him. I think Matt Rule's going to keep him pretty grounded offensively. They're going to try to get him off the field a little bit more, so they should lengthen his career a bit. But
They can try.
I'm a big Christian.
What is it you say about wishing in one hand and something about the other?
You can crap in the other, see which one
Poop in the other,
yeah,
and see which one fills up faster.
Yeah, that's who I would take. I mean, I like Christian.
Games.
Yeah, I want to win games. I mean,
yeah. CMC's, I mean, he's young. He did get a ton of volume last year, but man, 471 points. If he puts up 70, 80, 75% of that, you're in pretty good shape in terms of the running back position.
Yeah.
So
we said the same thing about Todd Gurley, and he got his big money.
Yeah, but he didn't give you 75% of his production last year.
Todd Gurley was a set it and forget it 25 points for 2 straight years. And we were all about it.
Yeah.
And then the cliff came.
I think he'll be good with Atlanta. But yeah, it can totally happen. You're right.
DJ, David Johnson, was a 20-some point game for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then the cliff came in the second contract. I'm just very nervous. Christian McCaffrey he'll probably do it till he's 45, right? He'll be the next Tom Brady of the running backs or something.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, let's turn the question around then on you, Brad. If you hadn't been able to get Lamar Jackson there and say Deshaun and Dak were also gone, who was the first position player you were going to take in your draft?
Well, so in my draft, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Zeke, and Michael Thomas were already gone. So are you saying I can't pick those? They're gone? So it's 6. What would I take?
I'm not saying those guys. I'm not saying those guys are gone. Who would if you weren't able to take one of the top,
if I'm in the same position I gave Josh. Okay.
Right.
I wanted to clarify because you said what my pick, so I was just wondering.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Same
set
scenario
the
as
rules
Josh.
to the
Who
game.
would you take? Same scenario as Josh. Who would you take?
Okay, I'm taking Saquon. Saquads.
Taking Saquon. Okay.
Yeah. Young quarterback. He's the only
quad.
option there. It's the quad.
It's the quads.
Yeah. And honestly,
I like Zeke. I like Zeke there.
And no, it's between Saquon or Michael Thomas. Wide receivers last longer than running backs do. That is just
true. They do not take as much punishment.
They can stay in the league a lot longer. And I want my first round pick, I want it to be the surest of sure things I can come up with.
That's fair.
I am very nervous about these guys that they're great now, and then 2 years from now, especially in Dynasty, they're not. Mm-hmm. If you did Dynasty 2 years ago and you took Todd Gurley as your first pick, you're probably scrambling right now, as a guy in our league is, to try to find another running back because he carried you for a year and then
25 years old.
What's that South Park thing? Here's your money, and it's gone. When you go to the bank.
Gurley's 25 years old.
Yeah.
I think he's still
we
got
treat him like he's 35.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's that arthritic knee. But now that he's on a play for a contract year, I think he'll be all right.
I don't.
No, he's going to
Jamarcus
Russell this thing.
I don't know if that's true though, because if it is an arthritic knee and like there's actual issues and he does not have the burst that he had before,
I think getting cut might be a wake up call. You're right. He might not still have the physical gifts that he did, and
he did have one of the best offensive lines in the league when he was doing what he was doing. And then he probably helped the offensive line, vice versa. A good running back helps a good, like Le'Veon Bell when he was with the Steelers had one of the best offensive lines. He could sit back there and do his patient thing.
Yeah, the stuff that Adam Gase doesn't like.
Yeah,
he dances around too much. Yeah, I think Gurley will be fine. Their offensive line's pretty good in Atlanta. But I think he'll surprise some people this year. But yeah, I'd take Zeke. I think he's got the safest floor out of the running backs there. That's me. And then Thomas, he's the de facto receiver. Like you're not going to take anybody else ahead of him.
He's still relatively young,
and
I know Drew Brees is there forever, but then he gets Jameis Winston, boys.
And they got Taysom behind him. It'd be fine. Be good.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? All right. I think that's it, boys.
Anything else we want to talk about? Brad, you got anything else?
No, not at all.
No?
No.
All right.
9 picks in the 2021
9 picks
draft.
next year. That's fun.
That's something.
Then you're gonna trade
But
most of those and get more.
In our
picks.
dynasty league, we were together with. I had 4 first-round picks at one time.
You did, and that's after you won it this year. So
and now I'm back up to 3.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
Redraft.
No.
As long as I get my 3 first-round picks, we're good.
Why don't you, Eric, why don't you just try and sell your team to someone since you hate it so much?
I probably should.
You fought to buy that team, you weirdo. All right.
I did fight to buy that team, but then I regretted my strategy that I went with. So
Well, you got 2 first rounders. I mean, what are you complaining about?
I do, but they're too low first rounders.
Oh, but this is the best year to have that.
Is it?
Yes.
Are we sure?
This is
Because I probably missed out on Akers, Dobbins,
There's
Taylor.
plenty of depth. It's a lot of wide receiver depth. And
Sure.
there is some running back depth there.
You might even get one of your quarterbacks of the future there, bud.
Let's not
Like
forget
that.
Nick Chubb was a second-round pick a couple years ago. Last year, Terry McLaurin was a second or third-round pick. There's some guys out there you can get in the second and third round.
Alvin Kamara, whenever he came out, he wasn't even drafted in the first round of rookie drafts.
Yeah.
No, I mean rookie drafts. He wasn't.
Okay.
He was a second rounder in rookie drafts.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. I mean, there's always going to be gems.
Philip Lindsay. Nobody even knew his name.
I sure didn't.
I still don't want to know his name because I don't think he's good.
Well, the Broncos don't either. That's why they brought in Melvin Gordon for $8 million a year.
Yeah.
What are you doing, John?
All right.
Well, you guys had a great
actually,
draft.
Okay, this is the last thing I want to say. I forgot about this. So now that the Packers have taken their quarterback of the future and Aaron Rodgers and the management is having time, how long till John Elway goes and trades away his future? He's like, build the defense. I got a plan. I went and got an aging veteran
To get Rodgers?
to get me a Super Bowl, baby, who can run his own offense because Aaron Rodgers likes to run his own offense. Just bring him in. Try to win a Super Bowl.
Do you think he could get Aaron Jones and Rodgers?
He doesn't
Aaron
want Aaron
Jones-
Jones. He doesn't care about running backs.
You sure?
He's going to build a defense and have some playmaking wide receivers. He's got the playmaking wide receivers. Just got to fix a little bit
He
of
sure
defense.
does have that. Yeah, Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy are going to be – that's a tough combo to cover.
And KJ Hamler?
And if Noah Fant can ever learn how to catch, they'd be great.
KJ Hamler is stupid fast.
Yeah.
KJ Hamler is freaking replacements. Who was a really fast dude?
Or like
talked about this.
Orlando Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
That's his
Orlando
real name.
Jones.
I don't remember his character,
Yeah.
though.
Super fast. Hands made of butter.
That's
Aw,
fine. That's fine.
That's sad. But they have the special gloves and the –
Yeah, we'll fix
He'll
it
be
in
fine.
post. We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in
All right.
post. Yeah, it'll look good.
Josh, you want to send us on?
All right. Thanks for tuning in to Wagon Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Josh. You can find me on Twitter at FFJoshHughes. You can find Brad at Tech Jones, and Eric is at Guns of L19. If you want to talk to the podcast, it's at MTWagonFF on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I think maybe we'll get a Tumblr. I don't even know what that is if people still use it.
Dude, plug the YouTube.
TikTok. Check out the YouTube, which is Empty Wagon
See your
Pod.
beautiful faces. I threw off the kids. Scared them.
Yeah. We don't watch that in our house, but please check it out. Hit us up there. I mean, wherever you want to get your podcast from, visually or audially.
In your ear holes.
Yeah, in your ear. Audacity-wise, I don't know how you
We deliver it visually and we deliver it orally. Wait, what?
What? All right. And that's it, boys. Have a good week. We will be in your ear holes next week.